Hey everyone, welcome to our Brand Boutique Elite Speaker Series where we'll be bringing you amazing speakers every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm here with my friend Jimena Cortes. She's an LinkedIn expert. And as many of you know, LinkedIn is a really great place to get more leads and connect for business. I actually met Jimena in January on a marketer's cruise. So we met on a boat, leaving an island, going back to the cruise ship. So much different than sitting in our apartments nowadays. I wish we were transported back to that island right now. She has been helping businesses grow their leads and really specializing in LinkedIn for 8 years now. And I'm super excited for her to share some of her tips and tricks on how you can really capture attention on LinkedIn, get more leads, and obviously grow your business online. So thank you so much, Jimena, for being on here. I'm so grateful that you could be with us. Tell us a little bit about how you got started and why you decided to, really focus on LinkedIn.
Well, it really happened by accident. When I first started my business, I was trying all kinds of different things to try to get clients, and nothing was really working. One of the biggest things I tried was like going to business networking events, because it was free and I had no money back then. And so I would do that, but then like the people I was meeting were just not the right fit, or they didn't have the money, like that kind of stuff. So I started to get really discouraged, and this is back in 2012, so a long time ago. And back then, LinkedIn was mainly known as a place where you could just also just get jobs. So it had a lot of job postings and stuff. I don't really use it for that anymore, obviously, now. But back then, it was like a big thing. And I remember seeing that my target audience, which at the time was doctors and lawyers, that there was like thousands upon thousands of them there. And I was thinking, like, God, if I could just figure out a way to get these people to like notice me and respond to me, I bet you I can get some clients out of these thousands of people. And I did that. I figured out, I tested different things. And within a couple of weeks of doing that, I got my first SEO client, which back then I was only doing SEO. And up until that point, I had been trying to get clients for like 6 months. I'd only gotten one with everything else I was doing. And I was like, wow, I do this for 2 weeks and I get a client versus all this other stuff, 6 months, only one person. So that I just focused on that. And thankfully, I didn't have to go get a job. I was able to grow my business, and here we are, 8 years later.
Yeah, awesome. So what had it, so yes, of course, we all go to networking events and it's like, is this going to be the right fit? Are we going to actually meet people that we can work with or partner with? What had it, rather than like just getting jobs, why did you focus on LinkedIn rather than some of the other platforms?
Because it was the place for business. It was a place where it's okay to network for business. If I, hit up a lawyer on Facebook or Twitter and was like, hey, here's this article, and hey, do you need some help with SEO? They'd probably tell me to kick rocks. But on LinkedIn, I mean, yeah, some of them tell you to kick rocks, but a lot of them were like, hey, this is interesting stuff. Could you help me? And so like the vibe is just different, because if you're coming at it from a business angle, people are willing to talk to you. Whereas if you do the exact same thing somewhere else with the same person, they're going to be like, what are you doing? you know.
Yeah, exactly. So people know that when you're going on LinkedIn, you're going for business.
Mm-hmm.
So I get tons and tons of like these kind of spammy emails where people haven't really even taken a look at like what I do or what I may need. And they just send me these sales pitches like, hey, check out this website, or, schedule a call with me and to buy my service. And I'm like, okay, well, I get so many of them, it's super overwhelming. And I don't even know if I want to do business with these people because I don't even know them. They kind of just randomly connected with me. How do you go about that? Like, what do you tell your clients?
Well, so that there's a process to it. You can't just like connect with somebody and be like, hey, check out this site. Do you want to buy anything from it? Just like think about in real life, if you did that, if you go to a networking event and you meet a person, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to have a conversation, right? Well, actually, the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to dress right. You want to look good. You want to look professional. You don't want to put people off. You don't want to have stains on your clothes or holes or anything like that. And then you're going to show up and you're going to talk. And before you sell anything, you're going to have built some sort of rapport. right? And so it's the same thing on LinkedIn. The only difference is it's digital. So your outfit is your profile. So you need to have your profile make you look in a way where people are going to want to do business with you. So you have to write copy in a way where you look successful, where your value is communicated, because people don't care about you, they care about what you can do for them. So you have to communicate that. And then when you connect with them, the first thing that you're going to do is you're not going to sell, because it's going to put them off, just like you're getting put off by these people. You're going to introduce yourself. You're like, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is the value I provide. What about you? And a lot of people won't respond to that, but at least you weren't salesy right off the bat. But some people will respond to that. And then from there on, we send a series of messages that are like, hey, I connected with you because of this reason. I think we have synergies. Do you want to talk? And so then it's all about saying the right things in the right sequence. It's all about how you say it. And so if you do that, then the people that might be interested in working with you will schedule that call, and the people that have no need for you will say no. And then some people will even refer you to the right person that you need to speak to. But it's all about, talking and presenting yourself the right way, just like you would in real life.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's about how you present yourself. So at iMedia Exposure, one of our slogans is it's all about the narrative. So it's about the story that you want to convey. It's about the value that you're presenting to the world or to your potential customers, because people want to buy what they're getting. They don't necessarily want to buy the services, and they might want to buy the services, but they want to buy what they are going to get. Like, what is going to benefit them, like how are they going to grow. And so I guess in that there are so many tips. So like we go on our slogan, it's all about the narrative. So creating that story and sharing that and making sure that your profile looks good, and
Right.
that goes down not just your picture and your cover photo, it goes to the actual introduction, the skills that you're presenting on there, and the value you're providing. Then when you're communicating, not being super salesy right off the bat. I think people think like, oh, I'm just going to go on social media and I'm going to get tons of clients. It's like, that's not how it works in real life. Why would that work on social media? If
Right.
you're running an ad campaign for a lower price product, you might get a direct sale out of that. Or if you're running an ad campaign for a freebie lead generation, lead magnet type product, you might get leads like that. However, if you're trying to sell your bigger products, you need to kind of build that relationship like you would in real life. And start the conversation. You want to actually communicate and let people know that you're there and reach out to them and engage. So I think, number two is knowing who your tribe is. Like, really figuring out, because, you said you figured out how to connect with the right people on LinkedIn. And so that's a total skill that Jimena and her team has, that she connects you with the right people. And that's super important when you're working with social media. We focus a lot on Instagram, and we are high advocates of LinkedIn. Those two platforms we think are the best for you to attract and convert your leads, or potential leads, or potential clients. So, what is like the kind of process that you go through with clients when they're like, okay, yeah, I want to work with you, I want more leads? Tell us more about that.
Well, it's all about finding out like their value, and a lot of times people don't communicate this, and some people do, but a lot of times people don't. They have a hard time doing this. But the first question I'll send my clients a questionnaire, and the first thing I ask for are 3 case studies, because people are going to buy because of the result that they get, nothing else. They're not going to buy because of the process and this or that. They are paying for a result, so we need to communicate that result. And so you always want to talk about where was the client that before you started working with them, which is the pain. What did you do? Not how you did it, but what did you do? And then what was the result? And that result is what they're paying for, or what you're going to be selling. And so we put that result throughout your copy, on your profile, on your messaging, and things like that. And we might go through a few iterations of it, but the questionnaire that we send out is really getting to know, why people buy, why they object, what makes you better, what makes you different, what is the competition doing, that kind of stuff. because all of that is part of your copy in your profile and in the messages that you send out. And that stuff's very important.
So not only like positioning yourself as an expert, but actually like showing those case studies where you prove those results. And I
Right,
think that's
exactly.
a lot of time where people, they may not want to share like that personal stuff, but that's super important. When you like, testimonials are a great tool as well, but I think that's really a great tip to take away for anybody that's watching, that case studies are super important because that is like tangible results that they can see that you got from somebody else. You talked about how you started off and you were doing SEO. Tell us a little bit about SEO, and how do you incorporate that when you're working with your clients?
Yeah, I mean, we still do SEO. I mean, we've been doing it for 8 years. So if it's a fit, then we'll offer that as a service. But really, our biggest service is LinkedIn. That's what we're known for. The process that I'm talking about right now, we're one of the very few companies that actually do it and do it well. I mean, there's a lot of people that do it, but they don't do it well because it's all about the copy and how you say it, what you say, where you put it, and things like that. Where I've had people try to copy me, but it just doesn't come across right. And so that's why I'll get a lot of clients that they've been working with somebody else, they're not getting the results, they come to me because they want better results. And ultimately, when we dial in this process, we'll get 10 to 20 appointments per month for every profile that we manage. And, we're talking about appointments with CEOs, CFOs, CTOs, so like the C-suite executives, and business owners. That's who we're connecting you with, or doctors or lawyers. And so these are very high value people that to get that many of them on the phone any other way is going to cost you a hell of a lot more money. I guarantee you that.
So how do you find like people's perfect clients? Like if somebody comes to you and they're like, okay, I'm ready to work with you. I service everyone. I don't
I
necessarily
hate that.
same. I absolutely hate that. Guys, if you're watching, yes, anybody can buy your product. This is a true statement. But the fact of the matter is that you're going to have to really niche it down to who your perfect personas or avatars
Yeah.
are and focus on those people. Because yeah, it's true. Everyone could potentially buy your product, but there are going to be the perfect fit where you're going to be able to serve and help the people, like solve the problems of these specific people, because everyone has a different way where you're going to connect with them. They have different wants and needs, different problems that your product's going to solve, and so your messaging needs to be clear around that. But when it comes to LinkedIn, how do you find like those people and start the connections?
Well, there's two ways to your question. Because I hate getting that whole thing when people are like, "Well, anyone can buy my product." It's like, okay. So what I did was I got specific as to who I wanted to work with, and so I targeted industries where one person is buying their product. So, for example, if you work with a medical device company, it's usually a certain type of doctor that's buying that device. If you work with a manufacturing company, it's a type of store that's buying that product. So when I do my own lead gen, I go after people that service one target audience. So that question's already out the door. I don't have to figure out their targeting. I just have to figure out their copy, and I can do that. When I have to figure out their targeting, which I've done for people before, the campaign just takes longer to dial in. So if you know who your target audience is, it might take us 1 to 3 months to dial in your campaign. If you don't, it's going to take us 3 to 6. So there's a difference. We have to test different audiences and then different copy with that audience. So it just takes time. But if you don't know who that is, you have to look at, okay, if you've been in business, who are your best clients? Let's look at those. What do they do? What are their job titles? Where are they located? How many employees do they have? These are the targeting that we can do on LinkedIn. So when we hone in on who those people are, we can start with them. And if that doesn't work and you want to completely launch a new thing and go after a new audience, we can do that. Just know it's probably going to take longer to dial in.
Yeah, so in any marketing, there takes time. There's time to plan, there's time to create the copy, there's time to actually test it and do the work to go after that. I think a lot of people come and they say, you know, hey, I want you to do my marketing, and they expect like the day they sign the contract for them to have like five new clients.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that's how it works, like in any case. It's kind of like going to the gym. Like you need to create your plan, you need to actually put in the work, you need to actually test to see what kinds of results are going to work for your particular body or particular business in this sense. So when clients say, oh, like, how long till I get leads? Or, how do you go about that? What do you tell them?
They'll start getting connections right away. It's a hard question because there are times when we get leads and clients in the first month. There are times where it takes 2 to 3 months. It just depends on what you're offering, how much our target audience wants it, and how long it takes us to dial it in. So I don't like to tell people you're going to get, a sale in the first 2 weeks. Has it happened before? Absolutely. Is it the norm? No. So I would say, you want to give it at least 2 to 3 months to test. And then also, if you're a business where your sales cycle is long because what you sell is expensive, don't expect me to create miracles. Like I'll get you the lead, but your sales cycle is going to be your sales cycle,
Yeah, exactly.
So,
So, that's something important, like your sales cycle, like your sales and marketing funnel needs to be in place when you're doing any marketing on any social media platform. I mean, kind of just in general, you need to have a sales process,
yeah,
and then when you're trying to get leads from social media, there needs to be a way to actually capture those leads and maybe
follow up.
yeah, follow up. You need to follow up. It's all in the follow up. That's what every salesperson says.
Well, it's so true because a lot of times I haven't had a campaign where we didn't get leads. Like that hasn't happened. I can get leads. That we can get you on the phone, all even book the appointment, all of that. Can you sell it? That's a whole other thing. And we're not a sales training company. I've always thought about incorporating that, but that's just not like what I do. It's like I don't if I get you the lead, I then have to train you how to sell it too. It's just not a skill that I've honed that well. Like I know how to sell my own services, but it took me a while to learn how to sell my own services too. So I would always suggest like if your sales process is or you don't have one, getting leads is not going to fix it. I mean, yeah, you might close maybe a 5 or 10% because that's just like you talk to enough people, somebody's going to buy. But if you have a well-defined sales process, you can close maybe 20 to 40% of your leads. And so you spend the same amount of money for the leads, but you make 2 to 4 times more. That's a big difference. So you have to have a sales process put in place. You have to have a CRM and you have to follow up. A lot of clients that I've had that haven't had success is they got a ton of leads because people really wanted their product and they just fell short on the follow. A lot of times they didn't even respond to some of the people requesting for a meeting. And it's like, you're paying me to get you this meeting and you can't even respond to the person to book it. It's like, I can only do so much.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know?
So when we work with clients, we suggest a couple of things to like solve those problems. So yeah, we get it. Like, as an entrepreneur or when you're in business, there's so much that you're doing all of the time. But fostering those leads is super important. So you can even have a link that people can schedule directly onto your calendar. So we always suggest highly to do that, where if you're sending out and trying up a meeting, just have a link right there to your calendar where they can go and see your availability, and you can set your calendar availability for however you want. They all link to your Google Calendar, things like that. So you're not going back and forth, because I think in that back and forth process, there is some fallout too. So if you have the link that's right there and readily available and they can check your calendar out and book, that, gets them closer through the process. Also, too, when you're using social media, if you're not doing something where you are trying to set up an appointment and you want to provide value, maybe it's a free ebook, maybe it's a video, something like this, you have a place for them to go where you can capture their email or their phone number. And then setting up email drip campaigns is super important. So you're kind of fostering those leads and until they're ready or they've learned more, because a lot of people want to learn more about people, and at some point they may buy, and then if they're not ready to book that initial conversation, you don't want to just like forget about them. Or if they're not ready to buy right then, you don't want to forget about them. You can keep them in your email campaign so that when you do have great offers, or when you are launching new products or having great events or freebies that you want to provide to support your community, you can also send them that. And at some point they may be ready, or at some point they may feel like they're comfortable and they get to know you more. So when you create leads for people, and do you have any, so you don't do sales for them, and
No.
how do you explain that? Because I think people think like, oh, you're going to get me the lead and I'm going to make a sale. So how do you explain that to people, and what the difference is between those two elements?
I mean, I literally just say just the exact same way I just said it to you right now. I'd be like, look, I'll open the door. I'm not going to close it. You have to close it. If you can close, this will work. If you can't close, don't even hire me. Like, I'm very straight up. Like, and most of the time, like, people are like, oh, yeah, yeah, I can close. I can close. Some of the times it's true. Some of the times it isn't. So, yeah.
So what is your favorite part about having your own business?
Um, Really, the ability to, I mean, I've worked from home for 8 years. So it's just the ability to work from home. I can, I've spent like 3 months in Europe just because I felt like it. My business still ran. I met you traveling. And so it's just that freedom of place. I mean, right now it doesn't really matter because we can't go anywhere, but when we can, it's nice. And it was kind of interesting because my whole team works from home. They have for the whole time they've worked with me. I mean, I've had people that work for me that have been there 6 years. They've worked out of their house this whole time. So when this whole thing happened for us, it was business as usual. It was different for everybody else, but our life was kind of a quarantine as it was already, except for on the weekends.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everyone's like, oh, you travel so much, you know, is this so hard for you? And it's like, well, the times that I'm not traveling, I am working from home. My team's working from home. So it's like, we're still working. We're super busy. Everyone's like, oh, I'm so bored. I'm like, I don't even know what that means to be bored.
No,
Like,
board this whole time. I mean, our business has been running. Yeah, we had a little bit of a slump in April. A lot of people paused their campaigns, but they all came right back up in May. And so, like, I've been busy. I can keep busy even if I'm not busy with work. There's always an audio book I want to listen to. There's always something I want to learn. I work out. I mean, you see, I have my mat like for working out is right here. So I just did my workout right before this call. I have a TRX right there. There's things to do. So
I mean, and right now, the people that are bored, like, I think that it's really great if they think about what can they do. So, you might not be working with your clients face to face right now, but there's definitely ways for you to grow your business. Like, I always say my number one is to work on your marketing plan. What are you going to implement? How are you going to improve, diversify your products? And the fact is that business as usual is going to be more online, more so now than ever. And
yeah,
that trend is going to keep rising. And if you're not utilizing that, if you're not creating that narrative online and showing up and sharing your story and your expert advice online in a very well curated way, you're going to miss the curve. And so right now is the time to create your plan, find the right people to work with, because it's true, like, we don't know how to do everything. Like, I don't try to do everything in my business because
it's impossible.
yeah, it's impossible, and I'm just not an expert in that space. And I think that everyone's like, oh yeah, I can do social media. Like, I see everyone doing it, and it's an art,
And it changes all the time. So you have to keep up with the changes, and that's a full-time job. You know?
exactly. So I taught a class, a social media certificate class, at our local college, and every semester I had to change my PowerPoint and had to incorporate new things because algorithms were changing, layouts were changing, the technology was changing, more things were incorporated, elements were like changed. So it was like every single semester I had to change and create. And so right now, I think in the last 10 years, things and technology has been changing at the fastest rate ever in history. And so as businesses, you just need to kind of run with it, play
Yeah.
with the best people and make sure that you're staying ahead of the trends. Because if you're not, then the other guy that is going to take your place on an online global marketplace. Um, and I totally believe that there's enough resources and enough clients and enough coaches to get you there. And I don't
Right.
think it's like a one or the other thing, but I think you need to keep progressing and not stand still at any place. Um, so I think like with COVID too, like it's awesome being an entrepreneur because granted, like we travel, like it's awesome just being like, okay, I'm gonna go. I was in Thailand for 3 weeks in December and January, and I was working because I could work from anywhere, and I was still taking client calls. It was just a little bit different because most of my clients are in North America, but it's awesome having the flexibility and having my business be online. And I highly suggest that everyone think about how they can incorporate and create their business more dependently online because you
Mhm.
never know when things are going to come up where you're going to need to utilize this as a source of revenue too. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so what would you say kind of like your clients have been realizing with like this whole COVID thing?
Why would you say what?
What have your clients been realizing? Because you said that they paused and now
Oh,
they
well, I just I think like everybody thought the world was ending like in April, right? Like end of March, April is like we don't know what's going on, like it's weird. And then people just kind of chilled for a little bit, and then now they're like, okay, well, this is ridiculous. I need to get back to business, and so that's what they're realizing.
Yeah, I mean, things are getting back to normal. States are
Yeah,
opening up. And in this time, like, there was a lot of availability to, like, you couldn't go to, like, family events or friends'
right.
parties or out to dinner. So we did have a lot of time at home and we can be working. And some places are going to be closed for a couple more months or
Yeah.
more time. And so business will get back to normal. And it's up to us on what we want to do with this time that we've been given. And some people have a little bit of a pause, and some people are like hustling. Like my clients are working like crazy to get their digital courses up. We're creating all of their graphics. We're doing their social media stuff. We're, helping them with creating their sales and marketing funnels. So they're busy. Like my clients are not bored whatsoever. Like they're all over here building and growing and creating. And that's really fantastic. So I love to see that. So if people want to connect with you, do you have any like freebies that you want to share with them?
Yeah, are you gonna put this? I'd have to give you the link for it. It's kind of a long link. Are you gonna put this
Yep.
somewhere?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you guys can download the course, week one of my online course. It's LinkedIn. It shows you how to write your profile because I remember I was telling you the copy, how you say what you say is very important. So I'll give that to you guys. It's the first week of my $500 course. And then if you want to connect with me, just honestly find me on LinkedIn, connect, send me a message, and that's the best way to get a hold of me.
So yeah, we'll be putting the link in this video on below. So if you want to connect with Jimena and get that, that is such an amazing offer. Like we all definitely need to take advantage of that and make sure that you are presenting your LinkedIn page in the correct manner. And she also has a background in SEO. So hint, hint, that might have a little bit of something to do with really helping you in that space. So this is a question I like to ask people. What would you tell your younger self when you were first getting into business now that you know so much?
Oh God, everything's gonna take way longer than you think. So.
Yes. It's a process. It's going to take a lot of hard work. Sometimes you're going to cry. And, if you just keep going at it and I think finding the right people too to work with because you're not going to be able to do it all alone. And you think you might be able to, or you're like, oh, I don't want to spend money on marketing because I'm not making any money on yet. And it's like, well, you're not going to make any money to have marketing later if you don't do marketing now. So when you're starting your business, I think it's very important to have budget allocated for marketing because you need the help to get leads so that you can make more sales and then you can increase your marketing budget as you go along, but always start off with a marketing budget. And you can do some things alone, but if you really want to be effective and not waste all of your time, because you want to be focusing on actually servicing your clients. And if marketing is not your thing and you aren't an expert in it and you haven't studied it for years and works with tons of clients, chances are you might not be getting the results you want in the time period. And so it's just much easier to, hire an expert and allocate that budget for it and then increase that budget as you start making more leads and more clients. Um, Here's a little fun question for you. If you could be a superhero, what would your two superpowers be?
Flying and reading minds.
Cool. Mine would also be flying and being able to speak every language. So once I got to that destination, I would be able to communicate.
That's cool.
So I want to thank you so much for being on. Is there anything you want to share? Any last tips? Any last advice?
No, I think we covered a lot. I would just say, yeah, if you want more information, you want to get a hold of me, just reach out on LinkedIn and definitely download that first week of my course. It'll really help you out.
Yes. So I'll add that link. So make sure to download that so you have that. You can get started and then you can connect with Jimena on LinkedIn. And if you want to work with her, I highly suggest that because she has lots of experience and she's gotten great results for everyone that she's worked with. So thank you so much for being on. Bye.
Thank you for having me. Bye.